Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Are We Clear Yet? Where seeking clarity through dialogue is how we move. I'm your boy Dino, and I'm in the room with a couple of my brothers, Al and Dub. Dub, gray on gray, how are you doing today, man? What's happening?
What's happening, man? Listen, I'm gray on gray, which, by the way, classic t-shirt right here. I just want to let y'all know I am classically trained. We fix this up right here.
Nintendo.
But I'm not feeling great. I do have a little extra scruff on for this particular episode than I'm used to. Man, I'm feeling good. I just want to go ahead. Father's Day has recently just passed. So if you're a father or a stepfather that did not get your just due during this past Father's Day, man, happy Father's Day to all my brothers out there that's doing their thing and taking care of their kids, man.
Hey, big up to all the dads, all the pops that want more than socks and ties. We love y'all, man. Because y'all deserve more than socks and ties. Holla! What's happening with you, man?
Man, a bunch of stuff, but can I say something, man? I don't know if I subscribe to Father's Day, man. I think every day is Father's Day, but that's another conversation.
Beautiful.
That's just me, like, you know, what we gonna do? But two things, man. I realized something about my phone, man. It has allergies. Like, if you don't call me, I don't think I'm calling you. My phone has that problem. Number two, feel how you feel, but don't ignore reality by living in your head. It's a gem by Trey Marshall, Whiskey for the Soul.
Okay.
A lot of times, man, I find that people are just kind of hearing what they want to hear and not responding to reality. So I'm trying to invite my friends and family to reality. Come on over, y'all. Come on over. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling great. You know what I'm saying? I was out the country recently. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna brag or nothing. It's pretty awesome.
The country again, boy? Do you stay home? Do you stay home, man? Hey, listen, it must be nice.
I don't even want to ask him where he went, dog.
That passport got stamps. Stamps. And
he said, I'm trying to get a new book before it expires.
You know what I'm saying? And the summer's not over, so there's more. There's more to come. There's more to come.
But wait, there's more.
It's not over.
Yes, sir.
But fellas and listeners, we do have a special guest we want to bring in to the show. And y'all want to bring her in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's bring in the good doctor, y'all. Good people in the building. I got a special guest for you. You might know her as Dr. Karen. You might know her as Karen, maybe KP. I don't know. But Dr. Karen is a nurse practitioner, educator, author, an entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in nursing and healthcare leadership. She's the founder of Danvers Nursing Institute and author of A Nurse's Roadmap to Financial Independence, available on Amazon, along with some other stuff, by the way. She empowers nurses to diversify their income and take control of their financial futures. Dr. Danvers-Perez combines her clinical expertise with a passion for education and equity, helping healthcare professionals thrive both at the bedside and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Karen. Can we give it up for old Dr. Karen?
All right.
She's in the place to be. You know what I mean? This is how we get down. This is how we get down. But we're going to call her Karen. We're going to keep it real casual. Karen, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. I want to say thank you guys so much for inviting me. I'm super excited. Believe it or not, if you look at whenever you post, I'm one of the first one watching and even want to comment after, say, Karen, give somebody else a chance. But I'm a big fan of your podcast. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We love it. We love it. So I want to jump right into it. Karen, what made you get into healthcare? Tell us a little bit about where you're from and why you got into healthcare to begin with.
Well, I'm from the beautiful island of Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I went into nursing. When I was in Jamaica, first I wanted to become a chef.
Okay.
Now, in Jamaica, there was no chef. There were cooks. And when I told my mother I wanted to become a cook, being a Jamaican parent, she wasn't having that. She was like, you need to become something else. Go back, think about what you want to become. And so I came up with nursing. But in Jamaica, I have to say, it was very tough for us growing up. So that dream of becoming a nurse in Jamaica, it was far-fetched in terms of to afford the schooling, work and going to school. I couldn't see it at that time. So when I came to the United States, that was my big and grand opportunity. So I started working as what we call a home health aide, taking care of patients, especially the elderly, in their homes. And that's where the nursing bud started flourishing. And I decided to go back to school and become a nurse.
Now, did you have some like traditional like hospital clinical experience as well, or was your focus on the home health exclusively?
So no clinical experience. And then I went, okay, there are layers of nursing. First, there's HHA, home health aide. They're
Mm-hmm.
only certified to work in the home. Can't work anywhere else but in the home. Then I went back and took a course and become a CNA, certified nursing assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a certified nursing assistant can work in the home, work in the hospital, and work in long-term care. So I did that. So I had basic skills to clean patient, bathe, help them with feeding, transporting, and so forth. And then I decided to take it to the next level. That was my ultimate goal in becoming a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And so quickly, climb that professional ladder in nursing.
But what about the teaching bug? When did you get this teaching bug that you thought, like, I want to go
Oh,
beyond healthcare practice to where I want to empower, people that want to become nurses in the future?
Okay, so we're keeping it 100 on this podcast.
1,000.
1,000. All right. So listen, I wasn't the brightest one in the bunch. I can tell you that. I struggled in school.
Okay.
So when I came to the United States, back in Jamaica, they had something called CXC, which is a Caribbean examination that you take. And I came to the United States with 0. So when I came here, I had to start over. I actually went back to school to get my GED.
Okay.
So I had challenges remembering so many content, so much information at one point. And listen, nursing is not for the faint of heart. And so I had to employ different strategy, different kind of learning style and techniques. And one of them that I realized, whenever I'm studying, I always study before I go to a study group, because I know my friends aren't going to study. So I'm going to be teaching them when I get there. So study before I go to the study group, have a lesson plan, and then go to the study group to teach them. And that was my plan. And I saw that I was good at it. And not only that, using certain things to remember certain concepts. And I must admit, though, that the skill of teaching came from my church, Greater Miami. And in that, I taught Sunday school for many years, for about maybe 8 or 9 years. And in teaching Sunday school, we had to have a lesson plan, we had to prepare and all of that. So transitioning that into the nursing in the formal, when we talk about theoretical teaching, that came from teaching Sunday school, have to prepare a lesson plan for the children. But my love for teaching came when I realized that I have a unique way and a unique skill in translating the information that someone can understand it and even remember.
That you kind of took your practical experience teaching Sunday school, but then you also kind of just backdoored into becoming an educator, because you admit you had your own personal struggles,
Yes.
but you found ways to kind of package it, teach it to yourself so you could better teach other people. It sounds like.
Correct. And so some of the students, even that comes to me at this point, are students with anxiety, students with learning disabilities, learning disorders. So I can also help those nurses to actually sit and pass the NCLEX.
I like that. Go ahead, jump in.
Well, first of all, Karen, thank you for being here.
Yes,
we definitely appreciate you gracing us with your presence. Thank you so much. During your studying, real quick, did you find ways to optimize your time? I mean, since you wrote a book about 10 ways.
Hey, plug it.
And
can I tell you?
So did you find ways? What ways did you find to optimize your time in order to, you came here with 0.
Yes.
And you found the time and the energy. And I have a follow-up question to that, but I'm gonna let you answer that. Go ahead.
So it's so funny. While I was going through the process, I wasn't thinking about optimizing my time and supercharging my focus. I was on survival mode. And I was like one of those horses that has blinders on, and I had only one goal. So there was no time, um, there was no focus on optimizing my time then. But looking back, I realized some of the things that I'll do. Whenever I read a book, I will always read it and record it because I don't have time to go over the book 3, 4 times. Because back then, while I was in nursing school, I had 3 jobs and going to nursing school at the same time. So I didn't have the time to read the book over again. So I will use certain skills, certain techniques, like whenever I read, record it so I can listen to it over, watch videos on YouTube to while I'm driving to work or while I'm driving to school, I can listen to it. So that helps me maximize the time in studying.
So that's actually a perfect segue into my question here. Just reflecting on what you're saying, right? So you came with 0, you held down 3 jobs while going into nursing school.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. So now as an instructor,
Mm-hmm.
are you less inclined to take your students, like the excuses that may come with students now in 2025 based on what you went through? Are you a little less tolerant the excuses from your students?
Not necessarily less tolerant. I'm going to tell you, most of my students are from African American or from the Caribbean, and I understand the struggle. What I don't take is that I don't have time to study. This is, I believe it or not, while becoming a nurse, you will not necessarily become a millionaire by working at the bedside as a nurse unless you have other income, passive income coming in from somewhere. But nursing is something that you can help see your way through. I have students who have been homeless, sleeping in their cars. And then you're telling me you can't study? You have to do one. How are you going to get out of this? So sometimes, even as an educator, you find yourself in the role of a coach and say, do you want this? Or how bad do you want this? So it's tough for many nurses. You have nurses who have a student who worked as a strip club to pay for nursing school. But don't tell me that you don't have time to study. You better find the time. And that's one of the things that I do at Danvers Nursing Institute. That's why my lectures are recorded, videoed, so that whether you're on the toilet,
On demand, baby.
or you're at the park or driving nowhere to work, you can listen to the lecture. There is no excuse there.
Yeah.
Oh, see wow. See, back in the day when, all of my friends used to go to strip club, and I never went, praise the Lord, to strip clubs. But, I heard that that was a common thing. Yeah. I need this money for nursing school.
Yes.
So that's actually true. That's
yes,
interesting.
it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
There used to be an up late, so there's no excuse. You should be able to stay up late. So you can study and listen to these on demand lessons. Go ahead, Al.
Go ahead, Al.
Someone needed it. I don't know who that was for. I don't know.
Up on the
Oh
pole.
my.
And I have a question. In the same token, does it not give you a framework for maybe having a little more understanding than a more affluent professor or lecturer who never went through the struggles? And I get it from the flip side of the encouraging side, but let's say there's a legitimate situation. Do you find that you can manufacture compassion a little bit better than maybe other instructors?
Good question. I'm going to tell you, compassion doesn't. Yes, you show empathy, but I'm going to give you an example. And my sons are going to kill me. I have 2 children. One was born in Jamaica, and one was born here.
Mm-hmm.
There was a fly, one of those bugs that circle the light in the house, and he ran screaming. And I was like, where are you from? The society, the culture, the environment that we're living in shapes how one is built. And you cannot all the time, be
Coddle?
given milk. They're getting milk, breast milk from other places. I'm going to give you the yam, the dumpling.
Yeah.
If
Provision.
you want breast
Yeah.
milk, especially to the clients that I tender to, I'll work with you, but I'm going to give it to you 100. I'm going to
Yes.
give you the rice, the dumpling, the yam, and the meat that you need to succeed. This is a survival thing. You're living in your car, and nursing that can take you from your car to an apartment. You're telling me you don't have the time to study?
Mm.
Well, not just on that issue. I'm just saying in general. I'm sure you're able to kind of delineate, or sort through, the valid excuses versus like solid reasoning. I'm just
Yes.
saying, when something comes across your desk or across, your face, is it something that, well, I can determine this to be a legitimate situation? I can help, I can work with this, or I can encourage this more so than the person who was born with a gold spoon in their mouth, as we would say back in the island.
Okay, so I have a job that I collect a W-2 form from at the end of the year. In that position, I have no choice but to give you breast milk every day, every day, all the time. Compassion, nice, even when I have to be. In my business, I also show compassion. I actually have a 95% pass rate for students who actually follow my steps.
Come on, flex on them.
Wow.
Flex.
So I'm gonna give you an example. Usain Bolt. Now, you know how many years he had to train just to run a couple of minutes? And say, for example, he's running the 100 meter. And every time that he's practicing, he's behind the time that he sets. When he goes to the Olympic, he's not going to be on time. So for my personal business that I have, my goal is I am the camp. I am the Olympic camp. My questions and my tests are going to be harder, difficult. My weights are going to be heavy. So when you go to the NCLEX, you're not struggling. And especially to the population that I serve, most of my population are predominantly Black from lower socioeconomical status. So at this point, you have to get over the milk and start drinking the porridge and the dumpling. So yes, there's compassion. Whatever you're doing, you should always do it in love, of course. But at the same time, I'm going to give you the truth in what is it that you need to succeed.
No, I love it because that example is perfect. Usain wasn't great the first time around,
Yes.
but he had to go back to the drawing board, and
Yes.
the next 3 times he killed the competition. So
Yes.
that's excellent, I think, framing. I think, do you have an Instagram? Do you have a contact number? I know we're still in the middle of this thing, but at this point, I'm thinking people want to know, how do we get into the Danvers?
Yes. So they can log on to danversnursinginstitute.com. They can find me on Facebook. They could type in a search bar, Danvers Nursing Institute. They can also, I have a lot of videos on YouTube that type Danvers Nursing Institute, and they'll also find me. I'm telling you, education, I'm going to tell you now, the value of education is now minimized in this social construct, this social time right now, because you have a lot of side hustles that people can make millions from without going to school. But for people like me, education was one of the stepping stool that helped propelled me to not only help myself, but to help thousands of other students
I love
becoming a nurse. And nursing is a stepping stone of where I start. But now transitioning, even after becoming a nurse, how do you survive? Because nursing, as I mentioned, won't get you, yes, you'll survive, you'll be able to pay your bills, you'll be able to take trip. But when we talk about generation wealth, then that becomes another level. In school, no one taught us, and sometimes our parents don't taught us how to handle our money. So imagine me, I used to get $8.50 an hour, $8.50 or $7.50 an hour, and to live in on a job for 24 hours, I get $100 a day. So imagine moving from $100 a day or $7.50 an hour to getting $35 an hour, not having any experience of how to handle your money. And then you find nurses and ending up in bankruptcy because not having that money management skills. So what I do, I help individuals from the beginning of their nursing career throughout, and to even those who want to transition into other areas. other than nursing in terms of starting a business and so forth for that generational wealth portion of their life.
You beat me to the punch, Karen. I'm so glad you brought that up because I was very intrigued by the title of the book. And we don't want to give the whole book away, but maybe if you can just, because I think anyone can use this information while you have your W-2 job, what are the other things you could do to set yourself up for success for many years down to come, for generations to come? Maybe you can just give us a couple bullet points of, listen, if you're getting into this business of nursing, congrats. Welcome on in. But then here are some bullet points that you definitely need to keep in mind so you can diversify your income and decide where that money is going to go. If you could just maybe give us a few of those points.
Okay. So one of the first thing a lot of us love to do is to run out and buy a very expensive car, red bottom shoes, Gucci bag, and all of that. And I'm guilty, not of the Gucci bag, but spend my money in foolishness. Get a financial advisor. That's the first thing. But to take it a step further, in terms of things that you can do outside of the realm of nursing is rental properties. Say, for example, you become a nurse. Now you have money. Now you want to purchase your first piece of property. My advice to anyone is to buy a multi-family home property first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you also get your passive income. And
are we talking about like a duplex type of property?
Duplex, plex, triplex, and I think up to you can get at least a quad. That's the max you can get for a multi-family home. All depends on the size of your family. Buy a house or a unit that has more than one for a couple of things. One, if you have a multi-family home, let's say that it costs $700,000, for example. And if you're buying a multi-family home for your second property, you have to pay 20% down on $700,000. But if you buy that multi-family home as your first property and you're getting FHA, you pay 5% down on $700,000 versus paying that on a second property 20% down.
Beautiful.
You understand?
Absolutely.
And not only that, you can live in one part, rent out the other part that can help offset the mortgage. So that's one of my things I said to nurses. If you're going to buy a property, buy a multi-family property home first. There's other things.
Not to cut you, but so with that $105,000 savings, what would you recommend someone do with the extra $105,000?
Wow. So I had one of my mentees ask me a similar question to this. As a matter of fact, and what I told him to do was to purchase a mobile home. Mobile home have a higher cash flow than even a residential property.
Wow.
Yes.
No, when you say mobile home, you're not talking like Airstream. You're talking about like a mobile home in a mobile home type of community, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. So back in 2019, between my son and I, we purchased 2 mobile homes. Back then, we purchased the first one, which was a 2-bedroom for $15,000. Now we split that unit into, so we have now, instead of a 2-bedroom, now we have 3 separate individual units where we have 3 tenants on that mobile home.
So 3 1-bedrooms.
3 1-bedrooms, correct.
Got it. Okay.
That gives a higher cash flow than residential property. A lot of times people look back, because I've heard this, well, you don't own the land, but you own the mobile home, so you have to pay a land fee. And it varies based on different communities. Now, the value for that $15,000, even though money was invested to split the unit up and add a piece to make it a 3 unit, the value of that unit today is $165,000. And that was purchased in 2019, and we're now in 2025. A young man reached out to me, it was last year, and he had a couple of dollars. And you'll see that story in the book also, that he said, hey, listen, okay, Karen, I have this. What should I do? I said, get a mobile home. And he got a mobile home that has 3 tenants on it. And so you will see the cash flow, because with mobile homes, rent can be collected weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, depending on how you want to collect your rent.
Okay.
Wow.
So I like the idea for mobile home. There are other things like transportation. There's so much things can be done in transportation business. You have non-emergency, where you can carry patients to their appointments. There is medical carrier. There are so much things that we can do with that.
Let me ask you a follow-up question. So let's say with the hypothetical young nurse, they've been in the business, let's say 3 years, you know, they've got the air under their wings, they're feeling good, their bills are paid. Let's say they got their first duplex, another few years goes by, they're feeling good, the revenue stream is coming in very nicely, you get yourself some good tenants over that period of time. You mentioned a couple of other industries that seem very viable. One was the transportation business. So as the nurse, what type of upkeep and maintenance are going to be, you know, because they're a nurse, they're working 12-hour shifts throughout a week. And by the way, I'm a son of a DMP. Shout out to you, mama.
Okay.
Love you.
All right.
And so I love how you're kind of like giving these tips out to nurses so they don't get complacent, because I think that's huge. So how would one kind of, you know, and, you know, broadly speaking, generally speaking, piece together that transportation business model there?
So it is best to have a partner, whether it's a brother, a sister, a son, a husband, a wife. Doing it by yourself is going to make it challenging. So I do have a transportation business too, which my son oversees. And so when you talk about, I will do the administrative part of it. He does the getting the van upkeep and so forth and so on. So depending on what area you're going in, you have to be certified by the city. Like, for example, we operate on Port Everglades, and the city requires certain amount of insurance and certain documents and certain permits that's needed, certain licensure that's needed. So depending on the area in which you're going to venture in, is going to require certain licensure, certain amount of insurance.
Yes.
But there's just so many things that can be done. But it's good to have a partner in which you can do these things, because it's going to be very difficult running from A to B.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, and trust me, it took me a while to learn this. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Because, you know, you want to diversify as much as possible. And I tell nurses, get out of your comfort zone. Even though I may have a doctorate degree, there are times, because we have more than one bus, when my son need a driver, and I have to jump around that steering wheel and drive that bus too.
Okay.
So you need a support system to get it done. It's not impossible, but it's doable. But with a team, it's doable.
So
like
a question for you about a couple of things you said, Ms. Karen. So first thing you said was, a long time ago, like 20 minutes ago, you mentioned being a CNA, right?
Yes.
Are CNAs, are those the ones that wear the tight scrubs and cheat on their husbands? Did you ever, how tight were your scrubs? You know?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, the uniform has changed over the years. It's a fashion statement now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Back in my days, we had room in which we be able to bend and take something up. But now it's different. And I don't want to bash my ladies, because they all want to look really cute. But
Keep it 1,000, Karen. Just say it. Say it. Just say it.
Listen, I don't know how they're breathing it, trust me. But it's a style. It's a style. And that's a conversation that we have had in nursing. You know, in certain nursing conversations about the uniform that they wear.
Well, again, and because I had another question too, but this is so fascinating.
Go ahead.
If the fact that you guys thought it was necessary to have a conversation, then obviously that's an issue. If it wasn't an issue, there wouldn't be a conversation to be had at all. But if the scrubs are too tight, Isn't that a distraction? I mean, not for the fellas here.
Hey, don't get canceled, man. Don't
You
get
know,
canceled.
I
Don't do it.
So,
Don't do it.
and here's where you come in with,
and I have one last follow-up question before I let Al jump in. One more. Go ahead.
okay, you have freedom of expression, freedom to express, and you express in the way you dress, you express in the way you carry yourself, and they want to give nurses those freedom to wear those uniform. And it's so funny now because right now this is bringing me back to the gym uniforms or tight scrub that you guys had on your podcast the other day. Well, I think it was last year. But no, you want to give people the free.
I know what you're talking about. Please,
Listen,
yeah, go ahead.
I wrote an epistle on your YouTube page about that, okay?
Mm.
But you want to give nurses a freedom to express, and everyone is different. That is a style now, and I guess for the younger nurses, that works for them, but it doesn't necessarily work for everyone.
Hey, Dub, it's less.
Last question.
Real quick before you go, it's just less ED situations in the hospital.
Okay, so all right.
Won't need that Cialis. What it's called? You won't need that no more.
But oh my. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something. You had a wonderful guest on your podcast yesterday. Not yesterday, the last week, Lisa.
Yeah. Yes.
She was great.
Excellent.
And she mentioned something about erectile dysfunction, saying that it can be physical and it can be psychological. I guess that's the best way to tell what problem that patient is having. Is it psychological or is it physiological?
Well,
I like it.
Last question for you. I'm gonna fellas jump in. So you also just mentioned, that saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, which I think, is great advice. Does that apply to women? Okay,
you're talking in the realm of dating?
Yes.
There's this guy I see on TikTok. He said, date them all. Date them all. Now, I think there's a confusion with the definition of dating.
Talk about
dating don't mean sleep with them all.
Okay.
But you can date other people to find out what their likes and their dislikes to get to know each other. So of course, date. Why not?
Oh God, I want to say something so bad about that.
No.
So
but you can't keep them all though. I think the idea here is
that's a different thing.
Exactly. Right.
I think dating to find out who you're compatible with.
Nice.
Who
is it that you're clicking with?
Catch and release.
Yes.
Because that's not what he meant.
No, that's not catch and release. No, that's getting to know if, is this someone I see myself with long term? Or if this someone, do we have this kind of chemistry?
Tomato. I mean,
We're gonna revisit that a little bit later. Al, did you get your question in? Because I want to.
I did actually. I was just trying to emphasize a bit, but
because as a nurse practitioner, as you just alluded, we had our good friend Lisa Pat on the show, and she kind of gave us her perspective as a modern day, present day practitioner, and what she sees in her day to day. And I would really love to get that from you. Generally speaking to the general public, and then maybe narrow in on some specific demographics, maybe some concerning things you're seeing, some of the trends you're seeing, and maybe some of the things that we could do practically to get better.
So one of the things I wanted to say off the bat before I go in that, anything is fair game in the bedroom. Tossing salad, potato or lettuce.
Oh, wait.
Anything is fair game in the bedroom.
Get my chair adjusted here.
According to the word, it said the bedroom is undefiled. I mean, so what takes place between the bedroom, between a husband and his wife? Okay.
Would you say that there are, I believe what she was alluding to, because she even brought up cross-contamination, which was that just made my head explode when she mentioned that. Do you think there might be some practices, even though the marriage bed is undefiled, do you think in your personal, nursing, medical, clinical opinion that there might be certain practices that are maybe not the most ideal from that perspective, from a health perspective, from et cetera?
Listen, I think you guys want to...
Or do you stand on it?
I think you guys want to draw me out,
No.
Listen.
No. This is why I asked, because she brought up... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you have a partner and you're with that one partner and nobody else, your husband, your wife, anything should be fair game that they agreed to.
Okay. No walls, no
Healthy.
boundaries.
No walls or boundaries.
But
What
that
they
part, though, yeah,
what they
that
agreed
what
to.
they agreed to. Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's where
Considering
it's
consent, yes, but given consent, which is number one, most important, that's established. Your position, because I like the contrast between you and Lisa, because Lisa's like, you know what? You might enjoy certain things, but some things may not be, I'm not going to put words in her mouth, maybe not be the most sanitary, the most cleanliness type of actions, etc. But Miss Karen, you like, hey, if he or she is with it, let's do it.
I'm going to say this clinically.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that the mouth is one of the dirtiest part on the body?
Correct.
I don't know how many times you guys kiss. No place is more dirty than the mouth, except for the anus that has E. coli.
We never kiss. We never. Us three.
Hey, dog. Hey, she's flowing, man. Don't hey, stop that. Stop that. Go ahead. Go ahead,
So
Karen.
I just believe that whatever a married couple agreed to do within their bedroom is fair game.
I can't lie to you. I wasn't expecting that. I like the way you get down.
Yes.
I like your style. I like your approach.
You can imagine if I want my toe suck and he's telling me that he doesn't suck toes.
Is that like a hypothetical or a...
Yes, it is.
That's hypothetical.
Yes, it's hypothetical.
Are you single? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Imagine you're in a relationship and you like something and the person don't want to do it. Then you're going to have some form of incompatibility, which can flow over into other things.
So conversation is key.
Yes.
Do you find that where you are in your toe sucking desires is something you had to like grow towards, develop? Because I'm sure that's not where you started. So yeah, did you find you had to kind of get there, I guess?
Yes. Like with many other things. Yes.
Such as?
In asking what you want and saying no to what you don't want. So those are some of the things. That's why conversation is key. So while we're on this topic,
yes.
Jay, I did not see your response. What is a tossed salad?
That's when you put lettuce, cucumbers, carrots. You go to Walmart. You get that you get that Olive Garden. That Olive Garden signature dressing. I'm telling you, boy. Listen.
Classic.
Deliberately said I wasn't going to look it up because I wanted to hear from you.
Sure, yeah. So from what I understand, because I've never experienced it and don't think I ever will, but from what I understand is I think that's where you put your tongue in the hole that was designed for excrement. And I remember I made a Facebook post a long time ago, and it was a joke, but really not joking, but it was a joke because I used to be kind of crazy on Facebook. But I was like, hey, I just finished using the restroom, and as I looked at my stool, I can't imagine that people put their tongue where this came out of. It's very, very, very disgusting, and I know that's not a mature way to look at it, but it is where excrement flows out of. So I think on that last episode,
okay, so that's tossed salad.
I would never toss a salad, and nor get my salad tossed. Excuse me. What was I going to say there? I would never get my.
That's how opposed you are to it.
Yeah, I would never get my salad tossed, and I'm never going to toss a salad. So record be listen. Call me Mr. Vanilla, but we're not playing in the in the anal region. However, if that's your thing, do your thing. But I make sure to have these conversations so that any potential partner knows where I'm coming from, just like you suggested.
Okay, so as you guys already established that I teach nurses and prepare them using test-taking strategy to pass their NCLEX. One thing I'd say to students, whenever you see never, only, be careful of those.
Absolutes.
Yes, when you're answering questions. I'm going to say to you, Mr. Wilson, never say never.
I like where this is going. I'm
saying never. Listen, because I agree with you. No, I agree with you. You should not say never, but let me tell you something. I'm very particular when I say that word never. Like, for instance, I can say to you, I will never go to New York and with my bare hands scale the Empire State Building. I would never do that. So listen, I know myself. I will never do this.
Okay.
I promise you, I would never do it. Listen, I don't care how much she begs.
While awake, alert, and oriented times 4.
There we go.
I agree.
Hey, there we go.
The caveat was while, bro, you could be otherwise drugged. So Doc, you said something about if he likes this, then she should assimilate to that, or vice versa, or are we saying that if he likes it and she's just opposed to it, it's just not supposed to happen? Like, how does that work?
Not necessarily. It all depends, I believe. It all depends on what the couple decide to do. If they decide to explore and they both are up for it, then hey. But if it's like, no, like for example, a girl meet a guy like Jay who decide that I'm not toasting salad. And she may want to spend her time trying to convince him in other ways. And if it's something that she cannot live with, if she cannot live with having her salad tossed, then I think, because that will affect the relationship.
100%.
So mutually, if it's something that you can live with, something you can't live with, I think it depends on the individual.
And speaking of things, you could live with or maybe not live with. Karen, I think you might have mentioned, I made a comment in a past episode. I would love to expound upon what I may have said.
Yes.
What comment did I make?
So I did have my question here.
I love it.
You made
She's
a question
prepared.
about in a 24-hour period, you spend 3 hours doing that. And I'm like, wow. And I wanted to clarify, 3 hours doing that what?
Okay, so what I think, I didn't have a chance to review the tape from that one. The purpose in that statement was, out of the 24 hours a day, you might spend 3 hours really on any given 24 hours throughout the year, 3 hours of that day engaging in, sexual activity with your whatever. And I meant that to say those other 21 hours, is that right? Am I counting right? It's been a long day.
Yes.
The other 21 hours, it is pivotal, crucial that you have other attributes, other qualities that you've matured in other aspects of your life to fill in that. Because if you're basing your claim and your value on what you can do in the bedroom, foreplay, during, post play, round 2, round 3, if that is what you're staking your claim into your value and what you're bringing to this, you're in some big trouble. Because
I agree.
3 hours, and I was probably being a little generous. I know some folks that candidly tell me that, like, man, I haven't with my wife, and I'm like, since when? Excuse me?
So I wanted to
go ahead.
So sorry to interrupt you. I want to come back to that 3 hours. What are the activities that are taking place during that 3 hours? Because I think what I'm thinking is actual intercourse. That's what I was thinking that you were referring to.
No, that wasn't. No. I mean, that would be awesome. I'm thinking about the beginning through to the end. And again, 3 hours is being very generous, but I'm talking about the foreplay, the middle, the post, all the things. And I just kind of gave it a 3 hour block.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
So nothing's rushed. Everything could be nice and slow, romantic, and really sweet.
Okay. I'm wondering, after that mention of 3 hours, if you didn't get a ton of note in your DM, because that would mean that you're Dean or the Stallion.
I like what you did there. But no, I didn't receive any messages, any emails, unfortunately. I'm not sure. Maybe after this one I will. Because I'm breaking down what's going to be happening in that 3 hours, because it can't be all Pound Town, y'all.
Well, I was going to say, like,
it can't be all Pound Town.
Come on. Do women want to be drilled?
No, that's what I was surprised when he said 3 hours, and I wanted to know what constitute that 3 hours.
They don't want 3 hours either.
But there's some women who you would say like the eggplant that much that they would want quite a bit of the 3-hour increment.
Well,
Pounding.
there are those special cases, but if you're talking on an average, but okay, I must say this.
Keep it 1,000. Just say it.
I've watched the famous case that's going on now. I tune in very often and I see people go 3 days, hours, 18 hours. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that was possible. So that make your 3 hours now, Dino, look like a walk in the park.
Where there's
3
drugs,
days.
where there's drugs, there's a way.
True.
And baby
That's
oil.
true.
Drugs and baby oil. Listen, those two things make anything possible.
Look, you're not going to be in your right mind. About hour 30, 32, you're not in your right mind. Do you know what up and down is and left and right is after 30 hours? After 30 hours?
You know, Dean, that's why I said to Jay, no tossing of salad if you are awake, alert, and oriented times 4.
Look, listen, no, yeah, I don't know about that drilling for 3 hours because I mean, from the grapevine, from what I hear from the grapevine, women don't climax on the penetration anyway.
That is correct.
You know what I mean? So it's why are we pounding for 3 hours? You know, I don't know.
For yourself, for your guys' self, because you got to be honest, it's on the male side because you feel like you're doing something.
So you're saying that the women, like, if you penetrate and you penetrate correctly, they won't climax?
Okay. Penetration, unless there is some friction or rubbing with the clit, then they will. But the actual insertion and penetration does not cause a woman to have an orgasm.
So if you're big enough, you're saying it'll...
Yeah. No, not necessarily, because small guys can make a woman have a climax too.
I'm pretty sure. It sounds like you're alluding to some multitasking along with the penetration. Am I hearing you correctly?
Okay. In terms of the anatomy of the woman body, the clit is on the outside.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean by multitasking?
Oh, please clarify. I'm sorry. What do you mean?
Because there could be penetration with the additional of clitoral stimulation. Those two things can be done at the same time, can't they?
Well, please educate me.
How would you do that, Dean?
The secret's out. It can be done. The secret's out. It's possible. Next question.
So I mean, to follow with Al's question. So then, with the if you hit the G spot, doesn't that cause some sort of climaxing or some sort of bodily fluids to be released that some people refer to as squirts?
Squirts.
But some people say it's just pee.
No,
what is it?
It is pee.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
It's pee.
You see how short and concise? I love how she is with it.
Yes.
It's pee, period. The end.
Yes. I didn't know it's so funny. I know men get this. I'll pour you guys, but
wow, this is taking a turn. Wow, what happened there?
Yeah, that's for another.
We might get a part 2. So real quick, on that, let me follow up to that. So you're saying then that oh my God, I forgot my question. But women like things a particular way in order to achieve that climax? Some
women, and not all, do you know that they get pleasure just by seeing their partner being pleasured too? So as it relates to climax, there is some stimulation, is unless, because there is, I don't know the name of it right now, where you can have a woman who's having climax after climax after climax without stimulation. And that's actually a medical problem. But for the average woman, there's some type of stimulation that needs to take place for orgasm.
Whoa! Did y'all miss that? Or did y'all catch that?
No, tell me.
When you said getting pleasure, watching their partner get pleasure, so that's That's
No,
just
no,
Hey,
no.
hey,
So let me
hey,
let me
hey,
let me
hey,
let me let
hey.
me say this. In not watching their partner getting pleasured,
Oh,
but as a woman, if you are intimate with a man and he doesn't look as if he's pleased,
I'm
he
with you.
doesn't look, or if he's
That's
unable to
that's
have
what
an
I thought you meant.
erection,
Yeah.
unable to have an
Yeah.
orgasm, that you know,
That,
And
that,
correct.
that, tell, that tells you where my mind is thinking right now. That tells you
Yeah.
where I'm
You think about that. You think about that.
that's why I brought you back, bro. That's why I brought you back. So
'Cause
basically, let's come back to this. So if the dude is just a log in the grand scheme of things, it takes away from the intimacy or the stimulation that the woman would need to climax. Is what you're saying?
Yes, and some women, not all, but some women will think, okay, is there something wrong with me? Why is it that I can't please my partner?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
You know,
talking good.
because sex is also a psychological thing for men. As we talk about ED, where it could be a physiological problem that either have diabetes, hypertension, taking medication for it, so they cannot have an erection. But it also could be a psychological thing where, man, I don't have any money, things, or she makes me feel so bad, she cursed me out, so I don't have that attraction to her, can't have an erection because of that. So some women at all, because you have some women who don't play game, they're like, what's wrong with you? You think can't stand up and all of that, making the guy feel bad. But there are other women who will think that, am I not sexy enough for him?
So
Which
Imagine, let me say this, Jay.
Go ahead.
Imagine having a girl that you can't please and she'll never have an orgasm with you. How would that make you feel as a man?
I'm gonna do her a favor and bounce. If I can't please her, listen, I'm gonna let her go. Why would I hold her back? No, but I mean, to your point, with getting making sure like getting aroused or getting excited, knowing that you're pleasing your partner. Yeah, it took me a while to realize that, women like to be talked through it, and they like to hear us moaning. Is that true?
Well, just like how you guys like to hear women as if they're feeling something, so we have to be actors a lot of times, so you guys feel like you're
Whoa,
doing something
whoa!
too.
Y'all are acting?
not always.
Crazy.
No,
You know,
I said a lot of times,
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
To clarify on that before we beat that horse to death, because I don't want to hear that. The situation with not pleasing or not being able to please, that isn't a thing where you're doing everything you can and it doesn't work. You're talking more about an impotent situation where you don't have what it takes to please her.
Either or, and I would hope that if a guy's having an issue where he is impotent and it's a medical issue, then he would discuss that with his girl or his wife, that they can use other things within their relationship to satisfy that need. But if it is not a medical issue, but for some reason he's not getting it up because for whatever reason, which is psychological, then yeah, that can be a problem. That would be a problem to any woman.
So we're talking about toys. I was gonna get my limes, but I think y'all boys want to see my limes again. But
Toys, if it is something that they agree to, yes.
got you. Any
There are a
recommendations?
lot of men who has erectile dysfunction. What do you think that and their women don't leave? So what do you think the women do? What do you think the men do? There are other ways of having intimacy without having the physical intercourse.
I see. Let me ask you. Do you see those types of patients very much? What's the core age demographic of most of the patients you're seeing normally?
Between the age of 25 to about 50. So in the clinic that I work, it's a school clinic, a university clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So most of my patients, when they come, very rare, they may have a UTI here or there, but most of them is for physical vaccination and stuff like that. Now, when I worked at one of the biggest hospital in the emergency room in Miami, that's where you see so many things happening, and that was a awakening for me. And as you know, that Miami is on the list of one of the city with the rising rate of HIV in the United States.
Mm.
Hey.
Yeah, it's a
right?
good thing I don't live there no more. You know what I'm saying? I was just playing.
So, I mean, you see a lot of things that comes in that is very, especially for your female clients, that can be heart-wrenching sometimes. Some of the issues, sexual transmitted diseases, how they may catch it, how they obtained it from their partner. And there's a lot of that going on. So that's why there's a song in Jamaica. Now, I'm going to try to say it in English as much as possible. It goes like this: rude boy, don't be silly. Put rubbers on your wheelie. It is going around and you don't want to catch it. So
could you give us the Jamaican version? Are you in the mood to just rap it real quick, just so we can
the
hear?
last time I tried singing, they didn't know song. It said, rude boy, don't be silly. Rub up on your wheelie. Is a go round and we don't want to catch it. Rude boy, don't be silly.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, you know what, too? Have female women can take control, too, for our own sexuality. So if the guy don't want to put on any rubbers, then the woman there's a female condoms for the female.
Where do you put that?
In the vagina. No. So, all right. So I know maybe you guys have maybe never seen it before. So it actually looks like a latex. You have seen it?
I have, yeah.
You have?
It's been some time, but yeah, I've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
It looks like it's a condom, latex. The hard rubber that's on the top of the condom is the same kind of hard rubber that's on the bottom of the female condom, right? And it's inserted. KY jelly can apply, and it can be inserted a couple of minutes before intercourse, so that she don't have to be rushing to put it on. So I guess the same complaint that men have with using condom is the same complaint that they will have if a female is using it. But safety is key.
But to your point, there's options. Circling back to the beginning of our talk, where we talked about excuses, obviously in a different context. Excuses, there's no reason for them. There are options. There's resources. The technology is getting better and better. The availability of it, especially in this country, to those types of resources is fantastic. So there's really no excuse, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
not.
And that's true. There's a lot of resources available there for. And another thing that I'd advise couples to do before getting into that, go to a health center within your community or within your city. They have free STD testing that you and your partner can go get tested before indulging in sexual intercourse without a condom. So you can know the person's status.
It could be a day night. And is that like the full 10 panel? Do they do that?
Yes, they do the quick HIV testing, the point of care HIV testing, but they also draw blood for HIV. They test for syphilis, they test for gonorrhea also. Yes, and it's free.
It's not a contest.
One last question for you, Karen. Is there any other burning questions that you have for us?
Al, and I think we have already kind of touched it. Al, in one of the episodes, we're talking about something new and about that new feeling. And I think you guys actually hit the nail right on the head in terms of communication and wanting something new. And Al did say that it is like a drug user. When you take the drug, you're chasing down that very first high. And that's what happens sometimes in relationship. But I wanted to add a statistic by the Journal of Social Science. They said that men, or 70% of men who did a survey, they were the first one to say, I love you in a relationship. And men more than women. But the case is not that women don't fall in love quick, but who says it first? Men. And go ahead, Al.
When do they say it? Was that a part of the study?
I didn't see that when did they say it, but what I gleaned from it was that they are the first to say it.
Okay.
But I'll get that information I'll search and find that out for you.
Yeah, it might
what
be
do you think?
Sex. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dino.
Yeah, before we let you go, I'm actually kind of curious. What is your takeaway from that I don't want to say conclusion, but what's your takeaway from their findings that the men are saying it first 70% of the time? What was your personal takeaway from that?
So there's another part that I wanted to add, that women leave a relationship for lack of intimacy more than men. So my takeaway is the same red carpet that you pull out in the beginning. Throughout the relationship, you can pull that red carpet out again, because one of the things that you see is that guys, they will love bomb you in the beginning. They will do this, take you here, do all of that. And just like that drug, that first high, that first feeling, oh my gosh, he's such a great guy. He's awesome. And then once he put that ring on, or guess what he wants, all of that kind of go down the drain. And so that feeling, although it's not all about feelings, but that goes away. And that was what maybe attracted her to you in the first place. So my conclusion is, yes, you guys may be the first to say it. It's not that women don't fall in love first. They're just holding back in saying it, because we know that you guys run most of the time with the first sign of hearing, I love you.
There's an onus here on the guys. I can appreciate it. But I'd like to add a part of the context of what we were talking about in that episode was, it takes work. Both parties have to try to achieve that initial high. And if you're both willing to do the work, I think you can achieve that high sustained continuously.
That is true. But the thing is, where the illusion comes in is that at the beginning, when you're pulling out all the stops at the beginning, you're flying her to Dubai.
Whoa.
You're buying her Birkin bag. You're buying her this, you're buying her that, taking her there. And then once she becomes the wife, then there's no more trips, there's no more nothing. And so that intimacy, and please don't tell me about gold diggers or they only want money, but at this time. But I'm just saying that what normally takes place at the beginning of the relationship, not for everyone, I want to say, but in some cases, consistency and communication. That's correct.
I know we're rapping, right? But let me just say this real quick. I think that happens to girls who are enamored by physical things. And when that happens, a guy gets bored. So I think the challenge is for both the guy and the girl to find that medium where they're both addressing the relationship. Because I think we tend to say 50-50. No, you're both giving 100. And if we can do that, I think we eliminate a lot of those Birkin issues. That's all I got.
Indeed.
Karen, you're correct. Just let you know. Sorry to cut you.
No.
Was everything you just said was correct.
She's 100.
And then what Al said too is also correct, because just let you know, again, on the other side, women can do stuff in the beginning that they do, like showing up in a trench coat with lingerie under the trench coat. We may get that in the first 3 months, or nothing under the trench coat. But then, year 3, year 4 in the marriage, we don't get the trench coat anymore.
That's true. That's true. Either way.
Click.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Indeed, I too have thoughts as well. But we're out of time, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe Miss Karen can make some time in the very near future. We can bring her on back, and we could talk quite a bit more. We're going to have all of Karen's information in the show description,
Pick up your
the
book.
website, the books, so you guys can go ahead and grab that, add that to your collection. Maybe give it to a friend, maybe give it to a brother or a niece or a nephew or a gift, a graduation gift, whatever it may be. Karen, we're so thankful you jumped on, the show with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Until next time, people, we are out.
Peace.